That's more.
No, but just looking for a little bag. Someone had some speechy, but yeah, it's not really. They must have taken that down. No, I don't know. You good? Wonderful. Yes, everyone here that should be. You're not waiting on all of them here, that's the main thing. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be starting in a few moments. So in the meantime, if you do have a mobile phone, would you kindly switch it to silent or preferably to off? We're not practicing our social distancing today, obviously, so we have hand sanitizer out the front. On the way out, you just rub your hands with it. We're safe, obviously, in the bathroom, so hand washing is the key to this. Okay? God bless. I feel like I'm already sitting pushing people hard. Take some photos. Take some photos. Very beautiful. Take some photos. You won't get another chance. Did you take some photos? Well, that's what I want you to do. Okay, now we don't have time for this. So if anyone else wants to come and say something, we're more than ready. Okay? So it's interactive too. Okay? We don't just read this lecture, talk about it. Okay? Yeah, we are going to record the service notes. We're going to pitch you. We're just going to trial. We're going to pitch you. Like the tuning live now, Reese, give him a call. We might have a streaming. Give a call, and research.
Just YouTube project.
It's on just YouTube for anyone else who want to become like it, we're going next year. So it'll be on there for about 3 or 4 weeks after. been approached by a couple of churches on the next report on the church services, especially the That's all. You need to give her a good shout. That's what I say. Well, you used to do that's just stand coffin up. Everyone has to do
Yeah, YouTube project. If they want me to send them a link, I can do that.
When you come to look at
and it's going to be streamed live. Brian with a wife. Oh, driving. No, but it'll be saved on YouTube. It'll have time. It'll be saved on YouTube. It's going to be saved on YouTube. It's going to be saved on YouTube.
We're only trying to catch up.
This also so obviously we'll be starting a little bit late, so I'm sorry about that. Ron's going to send through the meeting. And if you can once
But he knows that
And it was at our age.
I'll bring
Grab your coat and snatch your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear that bitter clap? And that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with the blues on parade. No longer afraid. The rover crossed over. If I never had a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with those blues on parade, but I'm not afraid, 'cause the rover, he got over. If I never had a cent, I'd be rich as Rockefeller. All those chicks round my feet on the sunny side of the street.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Brian J. Reid Funeral Chapel. We gather here today as the family and friends of Mary Ray Edwards, known affectionately and simply as Ray. We gather here to mourn and to honour her, to express our sense of loss and sadness of her death, but at the same time we gather here in thanksgiving to God and in celebration of Ray's 96 years of life and love. So in the wake of death, we gather in celebration of life. And we take this opportunity as family and friends to acknowledge the time that we have enjoyed with Ray and she with us. Today we lay to rest her mortal body, and we do so through this service of remembrance and the tribute that we will pay her through eulogy, through song, through our prayers, and indeed through our own very unique and special memories of Ray's life. It is a day of mixed emotion. Even though 96 is a wonderful innings, there's a sense that we have an occasion that is tinged with some sadness, knowing that Ray will not stand before us again in this life. And so I do want to extend to Ray's family my sympathy in prayers in light of that. We are confronted this day by the reality of death and the finality of death, and the reality for you and for me that we, like Ray, must make that same inevitable journey that she makes at this time. And so today presents us with an opportunity to take stock of her life and her achievements, and to reflect on the good of her example to us. And so as we prepare to commend her to God's eternal keeping, let us do so in that spirit of thanksgiving, mindful of the many and various ways that Ray has served her family, her community, and our society at large over many years. I do want to also mention, before I invite Peter to come up and present the first of our tributes to Ray, that we are streaming the service today live so that I think family and friends in Tasmania can tune in and be a part of this funeral service. So their attendance is with us, albeit from a distance. Peter, would you like to come forward?
Of those setting, need glasses. To those watching interstate, good morning, welcome. Don't get too drunk. Have a good day. For those that don't know, I'm the older stepson and better looking.
Debatable.
I just thought I'd say that. Anyway, look, thank you for attempting to honour a lovely lady who was loved by us all. I will share some memories of Ray, as told to me by her sister Janice, and also her nieces Jill and Cheryl. Ray was born on the 24th of November 1923 in Queenstown Hospital to John and Vida Burns. Her birth certificate shows she was named Mary Ray. An interesting fact is her name was spelled A-R-A-Y. I think her dad might have been a bit under the weather when he wrote it out, and not the customary R-A-E, which is the usual female spelling. Ray was the oldest of 5 children. She had 3 sisters, Valerie, known as Betty, Doreen, known as Patsy, who were both deceased, and Janice, who was still alive and about to turn 80. And unfortunately, Janice lost her husband just recently. She also had 1 brother, Jackie, who was also deceased. Ray was raised mainly by her grandmother, as her sister Betty had eczema all over her body and needed special care. Ray returned to her parents when her grandmother died. She went to Queenstown School and eventually worked in a milk bar in Queenstown. Some of her niece Cheryl's memories are of Ray having a sense of style in both clothing and grooming, and I think we can all agree with that. She also had a sense of fun with an infectious giggle and a great sense of humour, with the ability to laugh at herself, which of course made everyone else laugh with her. Jill remembered Ray had many attributes, but on the other hand was not a great cook. She said there are many stories among their family of good food being ruined. And I think Janice told me that the first time Ray cooked, Jack said, "Get out of the kitchen and don't come back." Janice remembered a time when Ray cooked a meal for the family of corned beef and vegetables. The problem was Ray baked the corned beef instead of boiling it and wondered why it was so hard. I remember the time when Rhonda and I were staying at Ray's after Jack had died and she was cooking eggs on toast. As she turned to take the egg from out of the pan, it slipped onto the floor. She quickly put it on my toast and said, "The floor is clean, so it should be okay." Ray worked for many years for the dry cleaners in the Balmain Roselle area and also Wynyard Station in Sydney. In her younger years in Queenstown, Ray, along with sister Patsy, was part of a gymnastics dance group which included public performances of the Can-Can. Ray met and married Reg Moore in Queenstown in 1942, and their son Brian was born in 1943 when Ray was 20. Both Reg and Brian are deceased. They eventually moved, while she was still with Reg, to Tarralee in Tasmania, where Ray met Jack, who was the love of her life, in 1960 at a dance. And by the look at the photos there, you can imagine what Jack was like for those who knew him when he first saw Ray. He'd be fairly excited. In 1963, Jack and Ray left for Sydney. Ray gave Brian the option of going with her and Jack was staying with his father. He chose the latter option, which he later regretted. When they arrived in Sydney, Ray and Jack only had an overnight bag with clothing, just one bag. They stayed with a lady who let them have a room. She also gave them a couple of plates, knives, forks and spoons, and they eventually both got jobs and life improved. About 1975-76, Jack and Ray headed to Tasmania to search for her family, as they had not had any contact with them since they left in 1963. Jill said she had been informed by other members of the family Ray had passed away because it had no contact with her, so it was a surprise to her when she arrived at Pat and Charlie's, her in-laws, house to find Ray and Jack sitting there. She said she fell in love with them both and had a lot of fun with them over the years, when Jack and Jill's husband Bruce would get legless watching the footy and her and Ray would put them to bed. And one place they lived was a house in Reynolds Avenue in Balmain, and anyone who visited there would remember the magnificent view over Sydney Harbour toward the Opera House. They eventually moved to Umina, where Jack passed away in 1996. Ray and Jack were staunch Sydney Swans supporters and attended many games, hence the Sydney Swans memorabilia today. Ray continued her life in her usual happy way, where nothing seemed to worry her, as she had a great temperament, and I think we all realise that. She had great friends around her in Neville and Elon, Rick and Kathy, and many others, and of course the Savage family, who she had been friends with for many years. Ray quite often said, "We have been friends for 50 years and never had an argument." She said that over a period of 5 years or more. Ray's health gradually declined until she entered Don Liggett House in Peninsula Village, where she spent the rest of her years. Ray's 90th birthday celebrations were held at the home of Pat Savage, and a great time was had by those who attended. The night before, some of us went to dinner at a place high on a hill with a magnificent view overlooking the water. Ray had a couple of wines which loosened her tongue a little bit, and she related the story of a night when her and Jack had been to a party and Jack had too much to drink. So Ray decided she would drive home. Ray didn't have a licence and was not good with directions and eventually got lost. She found what looked like a quiet and secluded spot and decided to park there for the night. She dozed off to sleep and was woken by the sound of horses' hooves and looked out the window and saw people approaching with many horses. Not sure what to do, she immediately threw herself on top of Jack and pretended to do what people in that situation do. This action woke Jack from his slumber and they then drove home. It was only then Ray realised she had parked at the rear of Roseville Racecourse, which was miles from where she was supposed to be. A couple of stories regarding Ray. Her and her good friend Doreen were shopping at Deepwater and there was an announcement regarding a credit card which had been handed in. This card had the name Mary Edwards on it. Ray heard the announcement a few times and said to Doreen, "You would reckon that woman would have got her card by now." She also said, "I would love to see what she looks like as her name is similar to mine." When Ray got to the checkout to pay and couldn't find her card, she realised whose card the store had, and her and Doreen took some time to regain their composure and collect the card. Ray was out with a group of people another time at a club, and they had been there for dinner, and the evening had progressed until someone suggested it was time to go home. Ray said, "Take your time, I've been watching the traffic outside and it's almost bumper to bumper, and nothing has moved for a couple of hours." Of course, she was looking at the car park. Ray also complained about the taste of food at a barbie one night until it was pointed out to her the food was on a cardboard plate on a holder, and she was actually eating most of the plate with her food. And I'm sure there's many other stories which can be told about the lovely woman we are honouring today, and they will no doubt be told in the future. Jill informed me there will be a gathering of relatives in Tasmania at the same time as this service, and they will be toasting Ray. So if that stream is still working, Jill, good morning to all of you. Before I conclude, it would be remiss of me not to mention Pat, Michelle and Ali, who looked after Ray for many years. As we heard before, Ray and Pat had been friends for 50 years or more and never had an argument. Our families will forever be grateful for what Michelle did for Ray, which went way beyond mere friendship. And with us being in Victoria, it was comforting to know people of their calibre were looking after Ray and had her interest at heart. Her sister Janice also passed on her thanks to Pat and Ray. Pat, Michelle, Ali and all the Savage family and Brett family, thank you. Ray, rest in peace, we will miss you.
It's fine. Thanks very much, Peter, for your words. We now have further memories to be read by Michelle and who does already. Would you like to come forward?
Okay. I'm speaking on behalf of Mum. She's asked me to talk today. It's very hard to relay my feelings for my dear friend and where to start. I first met Ray and her husband Jack when Jack worked at Ampol. He was a chauffeur to the general manager, Mac Leonard, and Ray was working at Tiger Dry Cleaners in Balmain. I was a young girl, 16 years, also working there, and coincidentally, so was my future husband, Frank. We had an office romance, but my heart was made up and I was off to London and he followed me. We returned after a year and again our friendship with Jack and Ray continued. Over the years, they remained close to us. We enjoyed their company and shared many laughs together. They were really a big part of our family, attending the weddings of our daughters and many family events. I sincerely mean this, but Ray had the most amazing attitude towards life. I have never heard her talk about anyone, condemn them, and only a kind word to say about them. Her generous nature knew no bounds, and her doors were open to everyone. She was a foundation and an avid member of the Swans and would never miss a game. She had her special seat under the goalposts at the members' end of the SCG. I'm sure the highlight of this affair was when Ross Oakley, who was the top man at the time, promised Ray and her group of fans that if they ever made it to the grand final, they would fly them down to Melbourne and stay at the Hilton and attend the game at the MCG. Unfortunately, they didn't win, but it didn't matter. What a thrill for her and her mates. It has been an honour to care and look after Ray these last years of her life, and I know I'll never have a greater friend than my dear Rosie.
Hi, my name is Ellie, and I would just like to say a few words about Annie Ray. Annie Ray was a great person. She had the nicest smile and the bluest eyes. She was a wonderful lady, and she meant the world to me. And when she went, my heart was empty. I will miss her so much, but I know if she would have seen the way she was in, she would not be happy. But it was so hard to see her go. But she's in a better place now. Whenever she smiles with her eyes, and I will never forget her smile. And her beautiful eyes. Her eyes were the colour of the ocean, and I could not stop looking at them. Whenever we walked in and she saw us, she would have a great big smile on her face that I will never forget. She was an amazing lady, and it was so upsetting to see her go. I love her so much, and she was my third man, and I will always have a piece of her in my heart. Although she had a good passing and was in no pain, it was still hard to see her go. She will never be forgotten and is much loved.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you to Ellie. We now have an item of the music to be played as the flowers based on Ray's coffin.
That's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far, like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable in every way, and forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, therefore I lack nothing. He will make me lie down in green pastures and lead me beside still waters. He will refresh my soul and guide me in right pathways for his name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of deepest shadow, I will not be afraid, for you are with me, your rod and staff, they comfort me. You spread a table before me in the presence of all my troubles. You have anointed my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thank you again, Peter, for your eulogy, and to you, Michelle, as well, for your words, most heartfelt. You'll notice on the order of service that you have been given that refreshments are to be served at the conclusion of the service at Harry's Chinese restaurant at the Eglon Bowling Club, what we traditionally refer to as the wake. It's a very important extension to what we do in this chapel today, is the gathering together, because as surely as Michelle and Ellie and Peter have shared memories of Ray's life, you will each have your own, which are worth sharing. And that refreshment served at Eglon Bowling Club provides you with your opportunity to share your memories of Ray's life. You will each have your own unique and special memories you would not be there otherwise. And so it's important that we share our recollections with each other, because that's an important medium through which, in a sense, Ray lives on in our hearts and minds through the gift of memory, which is a sacred gift to each of us from God, I believe. So do avail yourself of the refreshments at the Eglon Bowling Club. Have a drink, raise a glass and say, well done, Ray. You've served your family, your community and our society at large very well over many, many years. We thank you for the privilege of knowing you. And it's important to also state that we remember Ray in death as we've known her and loved her in life. She lives on through those sacred memories of her. So shed a tear today, but raise a glass and celebrate Ray's life. Continue to celebrate this life. Live well and live long. May she rest in peace, and may she rise in glory. Amen. We come now to a time of prayer where we must prepare ourselves to say farewell, knowing that Ray does live on through those sacred memories of which I alluded earlier. If you'd like to simply bow your head or close your eyes. Eternal God, we thank you that in Christ you share our human life, our joys and our sorrows, our laughter and our tears, our living and even our dying. We thank you for the gift of 96 years of life and love, for all that Ray has given to us, for all that she has shared with us, for her love for us and our love for her, for all that she has been in this life and all that she will continue to be and indeed become through our sacred memories of her. Bring us with Ray and all your children to the fullness of life you promise. And look with favour at all who mourn, but casting all their cares on you, sorrow will be turned into joy. Amen. If you do happen to know the words of the Lord's Prayer, I invite you to join me in praying that prayer now. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. As we come now to this moment of farewell, part of our grief may be regret for things done or left undone, words said or never said, or moments perhaps that never happened. This is the time to lay aside any regret and simply to honour the generous spirit of Ray. It's hard to imagine any of us would want regret carried into our future. So as we go forward from this chapel, may we do so with a spirit of peace. We know that to love someone is to risk the pain of parting. We know that not to love is never to have lived. The grief which we now experience is the honouring of our love for Ray. So let us just take a quiet moment and pause in the silence of our hearts as we make our own personal and private farewell to her. Please stand. Ray, your life we honour, your departure we accept, your memory we cherish, in grief at your death, but in gratitude for your life, and for the privilege of sharing it with you. We thank you as we here commit your body to be cremated, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, as we commit your very being to all that is eternal in God. Thanks be to God who gives us victory over death, through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you.